Okay, so welcome to, and I can't believe we're actually calling it this because this was a typo, but that's what the boss wants. Bath of the Red Mage, a new podcast about magic in the real world is how I would describe it. I guess since I was the only one of us to produce a podcast in the past, I have drawn the short straw and am recording the first episode. So my name is Eric. I am a corporate drone by day and a fiction writer by night, and have been interested in magic and seriously practicing since my teenage years. And actually, because today is in fact Tuesday on my week, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to pretend this was Monday on my week, and then maybe I'll record Tuesday as a second day, because the story I've got picked out for today is much better for Monday. So there are 4 hosts total, so let's back up since this is your first time listening to this. Myself, a host who is going to call himself Loki, one who calls himself Deed, though I know him as Derek, and he's an asshole, but that's alright. And then finally, and I can't believe I have to say this out loud, the Witch King, who is, in my opinion, more of a WWE witch than a proper witch, but we'll let him take his part when we get there. We're going to do a daily podcast of just a few minutes each, and we're going to have a theme for each day. So today, we're going to pretend today is Monday, is the path of Venus on my weeks. Loki will be the path of beauty, Deed will be if it ain't one thing, it's your mother, and Witch King is going to have path of the beast on Mondays. So mine is all about goddess worship. So I'm going to read a brief reading from my memoir that describes how my little goddess worship journey began. And hopefully we won't go too far over the decided brief timelines. Alright, so settle back, listen in. We all really hope you're going to enjoy this new podcast. From Dogboy, or Mowgli in Connecticut, in the section titled Deities and Devotions, chapter title, How Do You Tell a Mystic from a Madman? And the text begins, spoiler, it's the difference between a quote-unquote profit and loss. I was drawn towards myth, magic, religiosity as a very young person. Maybe it was those early brushes with death. Maybe I was born on the cold stone floor that lies before the 8th throne. Maybe I'm just a perfect little mix of the now fashionable type of neuroatypicality and the type of neurodiversity that can only be understood as a disease. Maybe I just have a rich inner life and an active imagination. Who can say? Is there a difference between any of these options? Any sufficiently elegant system of reality-bending magic is effectively indistinguishable from a similarly complex system of sound mathematical and scientific principles. Prove me wrong. Humans are just arrogant mammals with a particular gift for language, tool usage, and dexterous manipulation. Yay, thumbs. We're unique in none of these gifts, except for maybe the arrogance. Disagree? That's an anthropocentric bias talking. And why do we think we're so special? A handful of early philosophers decided that hierarchical thinking was the simplest way to order their understanding of the universe. Also, it probably made it a lot more efficient to kill each other for either food or war. Arbitrary moral systems. Go figure. The culture with the inherent sense of smug superiority would rise to world domination. Think I'm nuts? Go do a little research on cross-cultural studies. Check your privilege at the door. The most profound thing my father ever taught me was that despite any of my challenges in life, I had won the human species lottery. Of all the conscious reality experiences I could have been born to, I'm white, I'm American, I'm male, I live in the postmodern age. I'm smart, and I'm not even obviously physically deformed. So what the hell? Why does any of it matter? Why should a roll of universal dice come up privileged but tortured for one soul, privileged and pampered for another, tormented and totally fucked for so many others? What can it all mean? What makes me think I'm special enough to even write this stuff down? When I was a small child, I asked my mother who wrote the Bible. That tome seemed like a big deal. Our holiday tradition seemed to be based on it. Her answer? Just some priests. What a fundamentally oversimplified but utterly insightful answer. What a strange bit of data to return to a young mind probing for meaning. I knew what a priest was. It was a dude who wore funny clothes and read out of the Bible and told everyone else to do what this good person instructional manual said to do. But if, as my mother suggested, and at that age when I believed that she knew all things, the guys who wrote the instruction manual were also the ones declaring it valuable, surely a conflict of interest was there. Surely that made God and Jesus about as real as He-Man and Optimus Prime? If any idiot could write a Bible, why would anyone choose to listen to what it said? The other lesson I learned here, perhaps the one that would occupy my mind for the next 2 decades of my life, was understanding that humans sought truth in old things. That made sense to me. Old people knew more things than children. Surely old stories were more accurate than new stories. The story written down by the great-grandchild of the kid whose grandpa actually knew Jesus for 10 minutes before he got crucified probably had a more accurate story to tell than the guys on TV who had written new chapters for the Bible and wanted you to buy a copy. Telephone game. Totally logical. So I went looking for older stories. My stepmother brought me to the library and I found Greek and Roman mythology. I immediately decided that the Roman stuff was bunk. The Greek stuff, obviously, the source material. And yes, it was raw, primal stuff. The same themes as in the Bible stories, but with simpler and more vibrant characters. My stepmother was unimpressed when I declared that Hades and Satan were the same guy, but I knew I was onto something. As I got older, I went broader and deeper. Beowulf opened my eyes. Lost tomes. Transitional works. Tracing the common denominators. Learn Latin, as it was the oldest language available for me to learn. Surely things are lost in translation. Mystery religions. Lost rites. Somewhere at the bottom of it all, surely there must be truth. At the same time, I was trying to unravel the mysteries Tolkien and Lloyd Alexander were trying to teach us. Lewis, too, eventually. They knew things. They saw a way to translate the themes of the old stories to the modern imagination while bypassing the Christian veneer. Well, mostly. C.S. Lewis's wallpaper was pretty thin, enough to dupe child me, but as an adult, lying Jesus seems pretty blatant, regardless of stated authorial intent. They surely were on to something. Surely it was no mistake that their handful of unique works had spawned an entire genre of modern mythology. Orcs were bullshit. Dragons, not that prominent in the West. Elves, small and twisted creatures, and fairies, grand and powerful gods in the old stories. And fairies, grand and powerful gods in the old stories. Why did all the knocker offers of Tolkien and friends seem to miss the point so badly? Maybe I could do better? Wolf Eater, my novel, started off as the Great Silent War, with exactly that intent. But how could a damaged child actually reach that lofty goal? I had to learn something to see truths. I did know things about Hawk and Pierce. I knew there were more than just dumb characters from a dumb game I played as a child. They were inside me, part of my soul. And what was the one thing they both had in common? Priests. Both priests. Christians. Not like the men of starched shirts in the stained glass windows of today, but still, surely it meant something. Knock, knock. Kind men in shirts and ties. Do you want to live forever, they ask. Why, sure, I think. I may already be immortal. What kind of fantasy novel BS are these guys selling? Ever read the Bible? Did you know that most people who claim to follow its teachings never actually read it? Yeah, that's why I never trusted the priests. There can't be just 20 passages in that thing, so why do they only repeat the same old chestnuts over and over? We've read the Bible, actually read it and analyzed it carefully, and understand that it describes a straightforward system that actually aligns with science and history. Want to learn more? They're a cult, my Nana says. He's just being polite. He's not actually interested, says my mother. Why are the Jews wrong, the Christians right, and the post-Christians also wrong? It's Terminator sequel logic, I will later joke. The first one was good, but it needed a bigger budget. The second one was amazing. The later films all suck and are just aping part 2. I like bad sequels. I always have and always will. There's usually something there. Sometimes it's actually brilliant overall, like Alien 3. Sometimes it just has one perfect nugget, like Sarah Connor's coffin full of guns in Terminator 3. But you can't dismiss art or inspiration just because it's not the same thing you grew up with. Not. Nostalgia goggles, anyone? Until it becomes a hollow cash grab. T4 wasn't even trying. A lame shit-for-shot remake of T2. Can you give us a few bucks, say the men in shirts? Come with us to our meeting house and stop associating with non-believers, say the men in shirts. Cash-grabbing cult. Fuck that noise. By the way, my lord, what have you done for me lately? I have nothing. I'm in constant pain in my soul. I would kill to have someone to love me. The only ones who have ever come close are unattainable. I fold under the weight of my own anguish when given a chance. If you did anything for me, you sent me that perfect, beautiful, Jewish, funny gag that one, girl, and gave me just enough strength to break her heart and make her hate me. What game are you playing at? Fuck that noise. Abstinence? Shame? Death and punishment for taking pleasure where it can be found? Fuck that noise. A mother who hates me and yet won't let me out of her grasp? Fuck that. Hey, Aphrodite, how's it going? I know we haven't talked in a while. Look, I know you exist. Maybe you're only a fallen angel or some shit, but you once had some serious influence in the world? At the very least, I think you and I want the same things for the world. So let's talk. Old man Longbeard Sky Daddy with the bleedy sun fetish hasn't done a damn thing for me lately. I bet you could use some attention, right? Who even talks to you anymore? I still fucking believe in you. Tell Zeus I say hi if that helps. Oh, you're there, huh? Something certainly is. I can feel you. Yeah, I'm willing to devote my life to you. Why the hell not? You are actually talking to me. Your rewards are actually something I want. Really, the only thing I want in this world. An offering? What kind? Bread? Wine? Blood? No? Ooh. Whew, that's dirty, but makes sense, and yeah, what else? What do you want from a man?